Hello everybody, welcome to Terraform Together and our Homestead project. I am super excited to introduce you guys to a new project we're working on today. This project, it took us about 9 months to complete. The intent behind it was to basically create a community pantry. Now that we've had this root cellar for over a year now, it's been a great addition to the property. It's used as our community pantry for all of our eco-residents and basically maintains a solid temperature with no electricity usage, no anything. It's really amazing. So I hope you enjoy. Be sure to subscribe.
All you old souls, we're raising up a new world where everyone is sacred, every life accounted for. Grow your garden, find your tribe, let your hearts burn inside. Move your body towards the light.
The next project we got going has to do with this massive pile of dirt. And here's the hole for our root cellar. So this is going to give us a nice spot to keep things cool without electricity. This is probably 12 by 12 by about 8 feet deep. So once we're all said and done, it should be about 10 by 10 and about 7 feet, something like that. Be putting gravel down here as a base and then start building it up, start getting the stairs. Really excited about this project. Again, another thing we've been wanting to get done since we've been out here, 4 months now. So yeah, that's our update for today. Really excited. We've been trying to get this done for like 4 months now, and so, but really excited to get a shovel. I'm gonna get so strong because we're just gonna be shoveling and for the next like 2 or 3 months all summer. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what happens inside those bags once they dry out. This was just a piece of clay that I pulled out before we put it in the bags. This was just compressed by hand and it's very rock solid. Once these are compressed, I mean, they basically become one big rock, and then the barbed wire down there is what kind of holds all these big rocks together. All right, let's try this. Maybe. Two legs. So here's our second row. I think what I want to do is fill up gravel up to this point, and that's just to kind of help with any flooding that may happen. We do get pretty big monsoons. All right, everybody, it is day 5 on the root cellar build, and I think we're making good progress. May not get it done in just 1 month, but we'll see. Today, my goals are to take this wood and make a chute and get all of this gravel into the hole. Here's where we're at. I got all the gravel, another close to 2 tons down in the hole, and our foundation's done. So this gravel here and the gravel out there just basically kind of locks the sandbags into place. So as we get taller, they have a solid foundation This gravel here is very loose, and so it will also act as basically a big French drain. It's about 1 foot deep, and so basically we can get 1 foot of water in here before we would even notice it. The ground will kind of funnel everything out eventually. That was important because we do get some pretty big monsoons, a lot of flash flooding, that kind of stuff around here. So one of the kind of sad things is we put so much work into getting 2.5 rows high. This one's actually up, and so 2.5 rows high. But now that we've covered it all, you can't actually tell that we've done a lot. All right, it's the end of day 5, and we got 3rd row done. We got all the gravel in, and so our foundation's done at least. Last bag of day 6, and we are done with course number 5. So this is an exciting one because we have our door frame ready to go. So that'll go in tomorrow. We've been killing it today. Say hi, Katie. Yeah. It doesn't look as impressive over here because it's been backfilled with our floor, but if you look down here, it's really cool. So this is 5 courses high. We'll probably get, I don't know, up to about my knee. We're gonna finish this, and then we have our celebration beer for getting to this mile marker. And I think this is the most disgusting shirt I've ever had. And that's saying a lot because I did 3 months on the PCT. I'm just seeing how long this thing will last. Our victory beer for getting the first 5 rows done, the foundation done, and getting just before prepped for the door frame. Because I learned in 3 tiny house builds that I'm a child and respond to rewards for accomplishments very well. So we're finishing up day 7. Today was a little bit of a slower day. We kind of killed it yesterday and got 2 courses done, and so both of us are pretty sore and beat today, but a little bit of progress was made. So up here, Katie got the door frame, so Sugi bond, so burned. I'll show some footage of that, and we got all that cut, measured, all that, and then I did a supply run into town and got the electrical rough in. So we'll run electricity down here. Again, we want to be able to have a kegerator down here. May do some grow lights or something whenever the weather is not cooperating in the winter, so we can still do some food production down here. Started making some of our bracings, so these gnarly looking guys. And all that is scrap wood and nails, and so we'll run some nails down, then have the nails up, and once we put bags on it, they'll be locked into place. And then basically the door framing gets screwed into there. So it gives us something to screw into because, yeah, these clay bags, you can't really screw into them. The other thing I got purchased and cut was our down vent. And so this is just a 3-inch ABS pipe. And this will get covered with a bag, go straight up and come out the top. And then we'll have a second vent up top here. So once we get bags higher, it'll come here, and basically cool air sinks. So the cool air comes down that pipe, goes through here, and then comes out the high end of the pipe so that we don't get a whole lot of moisture issues down here, mold issues, things like that. We have our door frame in. So this was all coal wood from Home Depot. And then Katie did the Sosugi bond on it to seal it, and we got it installed. The other big thing we did was get our house wrap in. You guys show off. Smack it hard. We are done with course number 8. and we have started on the stairs going up. So tell me what happened.
I burned my pinky with the string. It's right there.
Oh,
Did a finger burn.
there's so much
I'm
blood.
broken. My poor left hand. I can only tamp with my right hand.
There's so much blood in this build.
There's blood on barbed wire over here from right there.
We are changing course a little bit on here. Today's our last day working on this for about a month because Katie's going up to Washington next week, and we're gonna tarp it and get back at it later. So we're pushing today on the stairs to get as much of that done as we can. Spending the afternoon getting some of this filled in, just backfilling. It's kind of the worst part of these builds. We just got done course number 27, so we'll have 30 courses all said and done, 31. And yeah, getting so close. So we're gonna try and knock out one course tomorrow, 2 courses the next day. The plan here is to build this up to, we're gonna start at ground level and then kind of hill up here. We'll do some rebar, little half circles, and then cob over that. So it'll all just kind of blend into the earth. We are finishing up our last course before the roofing rafters goes on. So yeah, it's been a lot of work. We've been cranking for about a month now. A month ago it was a little bit above that little base plate there, so our nailing plate. Finishing up the day, completely exhausted, so dirty, but getting so close to getting the roof on. So the plan is to get that done tomorrow, and then it's a usable space, a space that's cool. I've got some beer that is ready to go in the root cellar. Very excited to get that done. I'm super grateful to all of our workwears that come out and help and just kill it every single day. Yeah, and so close to getting the roof on. Got our first rafters. They're basically scrap metal. So we got 8 20-foot pieces for $200, which is super exciting. Today's projects, I'm cutting the door. We're getting that door installed, getting that ready for the next course. We've got Katie and Amy over here sealing our wood for the roof. So that's our roof sheeting. Nick is over there cutting down our metal, so we'll get electricity in here today, get the kegerator down in there today. We got some cool stuff. This will be our exterior door. This is actually a door from the Habitat for Humanity Restore. It was an old high school gym locker, and our workaware that cut it down, it was actually really funny. He was saying that he smelled a lot of sawdust in his life, but for some reason this smelled like residual 30 years worth of pee. So I guess it is soaked into the fibers of the wood, which was really funny, and I'm glad I didn't have to do it. But so we got this all framed out. We gotta swap this around a little bit and get a new lock for it, because right now it's a little bit of a dungeon situation. Once we get the roof on there, could in theory lock somebody in and they could never come out. So we'll swap this around for a door handle and another lock. So this thing's also falling apart, and so it's time to replace it. I've tried to take these apart before and it was just not happening. So what I think I'm gonna have to do, because I couldn't figure out how to bust this off last time, is angle grind it. So we're gonna chop it up. I got a new lock to replace it, and then people won't be able to get locked in the dungeon. So that's always a positive. Alright, so there has been a development. If you can't figure it out, just hit it with a hammer. So I was like, why is this not coming out? This has to come apart, like that went together some way. Hit it hard enough, and this little cover thingy popped off, and there's our screws to get it off. I knew there was a way to get this off, I just could not figure it out for the life of me. There we go. We are new lock and no more creepy dungeony vibe. Shuts, all that fun stuff. So yeah, that took way longer than I thought it was going to be, but everything does. So this is all of our roof sheeting. We got all this stained and sealed today. So basically on the bottom of it, we put just a standard low VOC polyurethane. And then on the top of it, a suggestion from an old homesteader out here was to use used motor oil. So that's on the top of this, and basically termites hate it. It soaks into the wood, it makes it toxic to bugs so they don't touch it, and it also helps waterproof.
Everywhere I go, I'm in the land of the lost and the broken hearted. All the soul I see.
We got the roof sheeting on, we got it all backfilled, we got the roof rafters on. We did good. On top of this sheeting, we're going to be doing asphalt paper, so ignore the mess. This will all get cleaned up very soon. We've got some asphalt paper, and then on top of that, all the way on the other side of the build site, we have some roofing metal. So all the metal for the studs, or rafters, roofing metal I got from a scrap and salvage shop. So they sell it by the pound. Killer deal. So this is all nice, sealed up, waterproof. The next several days / weeks, we're gonna start taking dirt from here and piling it right on top of this to help better insulate it. I want to get at least a foot on there of insulation. All right, I'm down here in the root cellar, and it is a usable space, which is really cool. Ladies got a couple rows of the stairs done. We got the metal on the roof, and then my project largely today was to get electricity down here. So we've got lights, we've got the kegerator working, and right now I'm working on getting some of my beer over here in the carboys into secondary fermentation. Just got the last course last stair finished up. So no more full courses for the entirety of this build. We have this last step elevated about probably 12-ish inches, just as a safety precaution, so that if for whatever reason there is any flooding in here, we've got a good foot of water before it ever gets down into the main root cellar. Shouldn't really be an issue considering the drainage goes way out there. It's coming along really, really nicely. So got our last step in. We're just going to work on these walls coming up to get this top door in and then cob it. We got the door frame for the outer door, so Sugi Bond. Had the workwears doing that. They're getting it all oiled up. And yeah, cranking right along. Got the door frame in for the upper part. So now you guys can kind of see how it's gonna turn out. We have these hoops that go up across here, taper all the way down to the ground. Barbed wire, or not barbed wire, fencing materials, and then cob over that. We're gonna basically do 3 courses up, and then lop off half a bag, and then basically lose half a bag for every 3 courses. So these courses will start getting shorter and shorter and shorter as we create this little dome going down. Came out here to play just a little bit. So instead of doing just straight cob on the outside, started liking the idea of doing some stonework because we have so many rocks. So playing with this is just a natural cob mortar stone combination. So it's 1 part cob, 1 part sand. I'm gonna play with that mixture a little bit to see if I can get it kind of a little more sticky. And then just kind of stack it up and get the right rocks in the right place. So if this actually works, I think we're gonna be doing this quite a bit around the property. Girls have been cranking the last several days and got us up to just about bags being finished. So we've got approximately 10 bags to go. Just 1 more row here and then across the top. And really excited, like this is probably close to 1,400 bags, hand-filled, hand-stacked, each one weighing somewhere between 40 and 50 pounds. We got in the framing, so all of this metal in. You can finally kind of see how it's going to look in the end. My project this afternoon is to finish getting the cage on. It's mostly there. And then basically what we're doing, as you can see, is getting burlap. And all that's doing really is to keep the cob from falling through the fence. Once it hardens and everything, I'm not worried about it. We are just about done with the cobbing. The workwear's been killing it the last couple weeks, really, that this has been going on. Their project right now is we're filling in, kind of smoothing out with cob, this little dome. The issue that we had last summer with our root cellar was it was getting too warm. We were getting in like the mid to upper 70s, which is not ideal. We needed more insulation on the roof, basically. Our structure wasn't strong enough for a lot of weight and a lot of dirt to really get a good mound that you would want to keep it more like a cave. But one of y'all commented, which I appreciate, and suggested straw. So what we did was it was time for our composting toilet, way back there somewhere. The old piles, the ones that are 1 and 2 years old, to get broken down and distributed. So basically our bin is 8 straw bales. So we took those 16 straw bales, broke them apart, put them on top, and then just covered it with a light layer of dirt so that the straw won't all blow away. Should add like a good 4 to 6 inches of insulation plus the additional 3 inches we added below. I'm confident this is going to be a lot more regulated than it was last year. Working on the plaster here on the outside. It's actually quite enjoyable. These batches go pretty far, so one big batch here we'll do like that. Just got the second batch on. I'm just going to crank on this as long as I can today. Show you guys kind of how this is put together. This is some sand that we just kind of get from the wash, go through, pull out some of the rocks and stuff, clean it up. So I do 2 part sand, 2 lime. So this is just a lime, type S hydrated lime. About $12 a bag, pretty cheap, and they seem to go I think probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 batches per bag, which is good. A little over 1 part lime to 2 parts sand seems to be working. We throw some straw in there to give it some binder, and then just kind of mix it all up. Throw it up on the wall. Once we get this coat done, this is the scratch coat, so it's still pretty rough. We'll get a little bit looser coat that'll smooth out easier, and get a coat of paint on it and call this thing done. So, why did we build this? This was a lot of work, a lot of man hours, a lot of bags. But it was really important as our first project for this community because we needed a controlled environment to store food for a large group of people. So through our eco-residency program, we'll have anywhere between 5 and 15 people out here. That's a lot of mouths to feed. And again, if it's 105 degrees outside, that's not a great place to store produce and things like that. We are also on solar. So our solar system is very limited out here. So we could not afford to keep a air-conditioned room. We have no air conditioning out here at all. A few stats on this, because I know a lot of people are curious about this. What did it cost? All of our man hours, all of our time is all volunteer labor through our eco-residency program. So material cost is really the only expense that we have. In total, our material cost was around $2,000. Very inexpensive. That was a couple $100 for the excavation, probably about $1,000 for the bags, another couple $100 in barbed wire. A lot of the stuff that we used on this build came directly from the land. Our labor costs, if you were to pay somebody to do this, is high. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do this sort of build, because this was around 9 months of bag work. We worked a couple times a week, a lot on the weekends, that sort of deal. How it functions? The highest I've seen the temperature get in there is about 75 degrees, and the lowest I've seen it get is about 50. Since we started posting this series, y'all have had a lot of questions. I just want to put it out there. I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have about this project or any other project. Just leave a comment below. I look and read every one of them. I respond to as many as possible. I'm happy to get your feedback. I don't claim to know everything, and so if you all have a better way of doing this, certainly let me know. Add it in the comments below. Some of the questions I've been getting on this. I think the biggest one is, what about rain? Does it leak? No, it doesn't. We've been through 2 monsoon seasons with this and have not had a drop of water in this building. The second question I get is it humid down there? How do you manage, mold and things like that? We have vent pipes. So we have 2 vent pipes on the front and 2 vent pipes on the back. The 2 on the front go all the way down to the ground. The 2 on the back stick out from the top. What this does is Cold air sinks, hot air rises. We have air circulating through here passively with no electricity that helps keep mold issues away. So I want to go through some of the challenges, some of the learning, some of what we screwed up. I think the first thing and the biggest thing that I've mentioned a handful of times in our comments and things like that is I would never, ever, ever do or recommend individual bag building ever again. There is systems that I wasn't familiar with when we started this project that I feel are vastly superior, not necessarily in a structural sense, but more in a how to build and time and labor and energy expended to build this. So since this build, we have switched to a system called HyperAdobe. It's these big long red bag tubes that you just kind of mix and fill up and go in one continuous bag. I feel after doing HyperAdobe and after doing Earthbag that HyperAdobe is vastly superior because you're going in continuous bags, so you're not having to lift individual bags. The other advantage to HyperAdobe over individual Earthbag, you have a continuous form. With these, the Earthbags are held together with barbed wire, whereas the HyperAdobe, it's one solid piece because each layer melds into the layer below it and above it. Another thing that we would have done differently is to dig deeper. So we dug at about 10 feet deep. That gives us about an 8-foot ceiling. But what happened is basically we couldn't pile a lot of dirt on top. There's only maybe 2 inches of dirt on top of this root cellar. If I were to do it differently, I would have had him dig another foot or 2 down, so that way we can get more insulation, get a better temperature regulation down there that's more consistent. Another learning that we had on this was our systems. Our systems while we were building this were terrible. Our sifting system was a table that you had to basically put the dirt on and then hand sift. Since then, we've switched to essentially a screen that's sloped on a frame that you can just throw the dirt into. It's so much easier. It goes, literally like 10 times faster than how we sifted all of the dirt for this. The other thing is a cement mixer. As you sift the dirt, you then have to wet the dirt so that way it compacts and forms into bricks. I don't know why. I don't know why we didn't buy the cement mixer, but since I've actually gotten 2 cement mixers for our HyperAdobe, and that just saves so much time and energy because hand mixing is really, really difficult. One thing that I think I would have done differently on this build is to put in more cleats. That's one thing that we put in some, but I think you can't have enough cleats in the walls. And what that is basically a 2x4 with some nails sticking out of it that is stuck into the wall that you can actually screw into. I want to go through some of the pros. Honestly, I love this root cellar. It is such a great functional piece on this property. We use it all the time, every day. People are going in and out of there, getting food and stuff. It keeps things really nice and controlled. So I would absolutely recommend this to any homesteader. They're amazing. We don't have to use electricity. I don't have to worry about things going out. I know it's going to be controlled. And one thing that's really, really nice is we've only had 1 mouse in here in almost 2 years that we've been using it. That can't be said about any other structure on this property because they get into everywhere. I think I really enjoy the stairs on this. I know a lot of people do root cellars with ladders. To me, that seems difficult. It seems like something where you're having to carry boxes of food up and down. So we took some extra time. We took a lot of extra labor to build this little kind of dome walkway thing going down into it. But I'm really, really happy we did that. The other thing I really like about this is the sustainability of it. We did use woven bags that are plastic, but those bags, once they're covered, will last hundreds and hundreds of years. Most of this build, the majority, 95% of it, is all just dirt that was excavated from the land. So we're building with stuff that's local. We're building with stuff that we got for free. I am confident that this build will last several hundred years. With all of that information, let me take you guys on a tour of our root cellar. So starting off, we have our little walkway down. What I really love about this is it looks like a boot. Do you like the boot? This wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened. This is our boot cellar. And so it's kind of funny because this is the first thing you see when you come onto the property. It looks very inconspicuous. I have a lot of people think it's the toilet or like a weird garden shed or something like that. What I love about that is like it doesn't look like much from the ground level, but what you don't realize is there's a whole room underneath the earth. All right, coming down we have our entryway. This here is a piece of art that I am working on. The story behind this is we had a virus that came through while we were building this that killed off a lot of the rabbits in the area. Found one, called the Wildlife Service. Basically they said to bury it as deep as you can so that no animals gets it and to help stop the spread of that virus. Flopsy was a little rabbit that we saw every morning that played in the woodpile outside of our bedroom window, and he died. And so this is an homage to Flopsy, who was buried in the root cellar because we had a 10-foot hole that we were backfilling, and so we buried him as deep as we could to keep the virus in hands. Let's come into the cellar. So this is our cellar. It is about 10 foot by 10 foot square. That's about as big as you want to go with a square structure. The reason I went with square instead of round is always going to be stronger and better, and you can do bigger, but round is also really hard to put shelves in, and so you lose a lot of space that way, so that's why we did square on this build. So going through a couple of cool features of this place, we did put electricity down here. So this is all run off of solar. It was really important to, one, just be able to have lights down here. We're down underground, so having lights is nice. But also I brew beer. And so I wanted to have a kegerator down here. I wanted to have a refrigerator down here. Very basic setup, a few outlets on the wall, a little breaker box, and some lights. That's all we really needed down here, but that is a big deal. One thing that we thought about doing was some grow lights down here, so maybe being able to grow some vegetables in a place that, again, is temperature controlled and away from the pests and bugs. Up to this point, we haven't done that just because, again, everything out here is a work in progress, but that's something that we may do in the future, is be able to actually set up a couple shelves out here to do some microgreens or something like that. As far as our finish out on this, we went very simple. As you can see, I kept the bags exposed. That is totally okay as long as they stay out of the light, which they do 99. We also have our lights on a timer. People forget to shut the light off, so that's what that is. Show you guys a couple of the cool things we have down here. We have a kegerator. So I used to brew beer. I would love to get back into it once we get water security out here, because brewing beer takes a ton of water, and I can't quite justify it right now. But we have this kegerator down here. Right now we are using it as a refrigerator. One thing that's really cool about using a deep freeze as a refrigerator is they take a lot less electricity. They're a lot better insulated. A couple things we did to convert this freezer into a refrigerator is we got this thing. You plug this into your wall and then plug your refrigerator freezer into here, set your temperature. We're at 38 degrees right now. And basically this will kick off once it gets to 38 degrees. So your freezer is not running as often and will not use as much electricity. The other thing I do on all of my refrigerators out here is set them on a timer. This timer kicks on basically at 8 a.m. and shuts off at 8 p.m. At night, we're not opening and closing this. We are a vegetarian community out here, so a lot of our food, you know, if it sits overnight, it's not like meat that's gonna rot or anything like that. So by having this, our refrigerator is only on during good daylight hours. If you're not accessing it, these freezers will stay cold for a really long time. As far as our storage in here, these are all just very basic garage shelves. I really like having the wire racks for our produce. It just gets a little more airflow in there and stuff rots less frequently. I mentioned our ceiling. This is all tongue and groove 3/4 inch plywood. We have a low VOC sealer on the bottom, and then we actually use motor oil on the top to help seal everything up. All of this is scrap steel. I want to show you guys our vents. So this is a 3-inch vent pipe, ABS plastic pipe that goes through the wall straight up. And then we also have 2 hot vents coming out here. For our floor, this is very, very, very simple. All this is pea gravel. We put about 2 feet down, and that's it. That's our floor. So if we do get water in here, it's gonna basically act like a French drain system, go down into the earth. I wanted to touch on these cleats. So you can see these pieces of wood sticking out of the wall. What this is a piece of plywood, nails going up, nails going down, and then a 2x4 attached. What this does is let us attach things to the wall. So this is another look at our vent pipes. This helps keep mold and stuff like that from becoming an issue, moisture from becoming an issue. If you see, these 2 are our cool pipes, so they go down all the way to the bottom of the cellar. And then on this side, we have our 2 hot pipes, so those are at the top of the cellar. The way we've oriented these is these 2 are facing south, and the reason is our driving winds shoot this way, so we'll get a little bit more wind pushing down into there. And then these 2 are pointed out that way, and so that way the hot air can just naturally rise out. It's not being forced into the cellar. We also put screening material and hardware cloth over all of these pipes, and that's just to keep the bugs and keep the mice out. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this build was inspirational to you. I hope it answered some questions. I hope you learned a little bit. If you found this interesting, please consider a subscription. Those subscriptions, that little click of a button goes a long way to help out our channel, let us create these videos for you guys, teach people how to live more sustainably. If you have any questions about this build or about off-grid living, sustainable living, natural building, things like that, leave a comment. I read every single one of them. I respond to as many as possible. Thank you guys for watching. Go build something cool.